Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're going on a journey, not just through sources, but into the mythical history of Persia. We're looking at the Shahnameh, the Book of Kings. And specifically, we're focusing on a time when, after what felt like an endless cycle of war and conflict, peace finally arrived.
It's a huge shift in the narrative.
A massive one.
Mm-hmm.
Our sources point us to the rise of one particular king who just changed everything. He was a complete departure, a real anomaly compared to the rulers who came before him. Khosrow.
And what's so fascinating is that to even begin to understand his rule, you have to look at his bloodline. I mean, he was literally a product of the very war he was destined to end.
How so?
Well, he was the grandson of the martyred Prince Siavash, whose murder, you'll remember, kicked off so many of these tragic conflicts. And his mother was Faranjis.
So he's from both sides of the conflict.
Exactly. He has both Iranian and Turanian blood. He's a figure of integration, not division, right from birth. But more than that, the sources establish his character immediately. He's not proud and selfish like the previous king, Khosrow, and he's not weak like Nausar. His heart had sort of one single focus, justice, pure, absolute truth.
And that's our anchor point.
Yeah.
We're exploring this king defined by justice, but we're also here because of an artifact, a tool that gave him total, unprecedented, almost unimaginable knowledge.
The ultimate piece of ancient surveillance technology, really.
Cup of the world viewer. Okay, let's unpack this.
So when he takes the throne, the impact is immediate. The sources are really emphatic about this. It's not just about fair courts. The effect just ripples through the entire society.
What do they describe?
They talk about cities overflowing with fairness, the poor being fed. But the detail that always gets me, the one that points to this sort of paradise on Earth, is that even wild animals feared humans less.
Wow.
It suggests his own internal harmony was creating, an external systemic harmony.
And right at the center of that power, that harmony, is this one object. This is where we shift from, say, statecraft to pure mythology.
Right.
The cup of the world viewer. What did it look like? I'm picturing something incredibly ornate.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? But the sources describe it as almost unassuming. It's often just a simple goblet, maybe crystal, maybe glass, something you might just overlook.
But its function?
Its function was anything but simple. This is where we get into the realm of, omniscience. When Khosrow looked into it, the sources say the entire world came alive inside.
Not just one scene, like a crystal ball.
No, total real-time access. It would show him the farthest mountains, the deepest, most hidden caves. But here's the really chilling part.
Go on.
It also revealed the secret thoughts of enemies.
So it wasn't just tracking troop movements.
It was total mental surveillance. He knew what his adversaries were thinking as they were thinking it.
That is terrifying to even think about. In the hands of a normal ruler, that's tyranny waiting to happen. How did he handle that temptation? Did he ever struggle with it?
That's the core question, isn't it? And the texts imply that because his heart was pure, because he was genuinely seeking justice and not just power for its own sake, he was sort of immune to the corruption of the tool.
The cup was just an extension of his own righteousness.
Exactly. And the sources give us the perfect example of how he used this power strictly for justice. And that brings us to the whole crisis with Afrasiab.
Right. This is where it gets really interesting, the practical application. Afrasiab was the big one, the sworn enemy of Iran for generations.
And after a huge defeat, he just vanishes completely.
So think about the pressure. This guy, this symbol of decades of suffering, has gone dark. His ministers are despairing. They think he's going to regroup. The war is never going to end.
It's a total crisis of morale, and this is where Khosrow proves he's different. He doesn't order these massive kingdom-draining searches.
What does he do?
He just goes to his chamber, alone. And the sources detail this beautiful little ritual.
It's not a military strategy, it's something else.
Something spiritual. He takes the cup, fills it with water, passes his hand over it, and he doesn't command it. He asks. The sources say he whispered, "Show me, O cup of truth."
Where the greatest enemy of this land now hides.
And boom, instantaneous. An image forms in the water.
What does it show?
A dark cave, deep in the mountains of Tehran, a really remote place. And there he is, Afrasiab.
With a huge army planning his comeback.
Not at all. He's described as old, broken, maybe just a few guards with him, but still plotting revenge, consumed by it.
So Khosrow sees him, beaten, but unrepentant. He could just bypass all the guesswork.
All of it. He located him instantly, sent the army to that one specific cave, and Afrasiab was captured. Justice was finally done. It's the moment that cements his legend. He didn't just defeat his enemies, he knew them.
But the sources are clear. The cup wasn't just a wartime tool.
Oh, not at all. Its uses were incredibly broad. They say it could uncover lost treasures, things hidden for centuries.
And in his own court.
He could see right through the lies of his ministers. Imagine that for a moment. No corruption could hide from him. It was the ultimate source of truth for every part of governance. And he could even see glimpses of the future.
Which brings us to the man himself.
Oh.
This must have had a profound effect on him. What does total, unfiltered access to every secret, every lie, every plot in the world do to a person?
It changes you, fundamentally. The sources note that the more he looked into the cup, the more he saw the raw truth of the world, the endless cycle of ambition and loss.
And it changed how he felt.
It's stated very explicitly. The more he saw, the colder his heart grew toward the world.
Wait, hold on. A cold heart. That sounds bad. Did he become cynical? Stop caring about justice?
No, and that's the crucial part. It wasn't cruelty. His dedication to justice was absolute. It was detachment. A spiritual detachment.
Okay.
He was seeing that all the things people strive for, the gold, the power, the thrones, everything he could so easily get, he finally realized they meant nothing.
That's an incredible irony. The ultimate tool for gaining worldly power taught him that worldly power is an illusion.
Exactly. And that realization leads to his next truly shocking decision.
The abdication.
He gathers his ministers, who you have to imagine are just terrified by this, and he tells them, I no longer need the throne. God sent me to establish justice. My work is done.
How did they react? Surely they tried to stop him.
Oh, they were devastated. The sources talk about their confusion, their sorrow. They pleaded with him, arguing that the kingdom needed a strong ruler, that he was their anchor.
That you wouldn't listen.
He was resolute. His divine mission was complete. He saw no reason to stick around and just enjoy the perks of power, which he now saw as, meaningless. His spiritual journey was more important than his political duty.
So the kingdom settled, the king is stepping down. What about the cup? The most powerful object in the world.
He entrusts it to his most loyal minister, Gooders. It was a very deliberate choice.
So he's passing on the power.
Yes, but with a huge condition attached. A profound warning. He tells Gooders, keep this cup safe. But know this.
I have a feeling this is important.
It's everything. He says, without faith in God, it is nothing more than empty glass.
So the magic isn't in the object, it's in the user.
Precisely. For a normal, power-hungry king, it would just be a nice goblet. The power came from Khosrow's own spiritual purity.
So with the kingdom and the cup taken care of, he begins his final journey. And this is where the story goes from political legend to pure spiritual myth.
It really does. He heads out toward the mountains, not with an army, but on a kind of pilgrimage into the unknown.
And he takes a few companions with him. Heroes of the realm, like Bijan and Gastam.
Great warriors, loyal, powerful men. But as we see, they aren't ready for where he's going.
Oh, happens.
The environment itself becomes the test. As they climb, a terrible snowstorm hits, the wind is howling, it's this hostile, overwhelming force of nature.
And the companions.
One by one, they fail the test. They get lost, they freeze, they're forced to turn back. They were willing to die for their king in a war, but they couldn't surrender the world with him.
It wasn't a test of physical strength then.
It was about spiritual endurance. And in the end, only Khosrow makes it. He pushes on alone to the very summit.
And what does he do there?
He looks up at the sky and just says, "Oh God, I have come." And then the snow covers everything, his tracks, his path. He just vanishes.
Shahnameh says he ascended to God, like the prophets.
Exactly. He didn't die, he ascended. And what's so fascinating is the legacy this leaves. The cup was never really used that way again. Why?
Because no one else had the right disposition for it.
Right. The ultimate sight was only possible for a king who had the spiritual strength to see the truth of the world and then have the even greater strength to let it go.
So we circle all the way back to this core tension. The story sets up this incredible paradox. To have ultimate knowledge, to see every secret, every treasure, you have to achieve ultimate detachment from the world you see.
The ultimate tool of power requires the ultimate lack of desire for power.
Which leaves us, and you, with a final thought to mull over. If having total instantaneous knowledge of everything, all secrets, all treasures, all plots, if that leads a king only to the cold conclusion that the throne means nothing, and it drives him to give it all up and vanish into the sky, what does that suggest about the true value of the things we all spend our lives trying to acquire? That's something to think about until the next deep dive.